Yo, what's up fanbase, it's your boy Blaze Holla coming at you with another what if. This time I'll be bringing you what if Deku ate the hormone fruit part 7. I know that it's been a while, so I won't waste your time. Let's start that intro and get into this amazing story.
I honestly don't think you can become a hero.
All Might started to explain the exercise about the hero and villain theme and how they were going to be put into groups of 2 as everybody was curious on how they were going to be paired up with each other. Ina was so excited to get started. Excuse me, All Might, but how are you going to determine who gets partnered with who? All Might had a big smile on his face as he pulled out a lot box that said hero and the other one saying villain on it. Well, when it comes to deciding who is going to be a hero and who is going to be a villain will all be determined by lot. As for your teams, I already have some information on how I determine who is going to be partnered with who. He had a sweat mark on the back of his head, remembering that he did this all at random by putting names into a hat, but then tried to act professional in front of everyone. Now, if you all listen up, I'll tell you who you are partnered with. Izuku prayed in her mind, hoping that she would be matched up against Bakugo. Please don't keep us in suspense, Sensei. Just tell us who are we matched up against and who are our partners. All Might cleared his throat a little bit as he pulled out a flashcard explaining who was paired up with who, and after a few minutes he pulled into the lot box to see who was going to be in the first match. Alright, for the hero team we have Group E, which is Izuku and Jiro. He then proceeded to reach into the villain box next, and for the villain team we have Group B, which is Bakugo and Denki. Izuku felt like this was destiny. It was finally time for her to get vengeance on her bully as she put on the warmest smile and turned towards Bakugo. Good luck, try not to mess me up too badly. Bakugo chuckled as he had a big smirk on his face. Don't worry, I won't mess you up too badly, but when this is over, why don't we get to know each other a little bit better? Izuku was holding back her rage and trying to keep the best smile on her face so she kept as sweet as possible. We'll see what happens after this match. You should go meet up with your teammate. All Might had a bad feeling, but he couldn't determine where it was coming from, so he just shrugged it off. Alright, get ready to show us plus ultra, you bunch of newbies. Both teams headed over to the testing building where the villain team went inside first to set up the bomb, while the hero team waited outside and for confirmation to go in. But that wasn't on Izuku's mind at the moment as she placed a hand on Jiro's shoulder. I need to ask you a big favor, and I know I might be asking a lot in this moment. Jiro was concerned, wondering if she was about to be asked to take a dive in the match just to feed into some guy's ego that she might be liking. No offense, I am very grateful for you giving me a new lease on life, but if you're going to tell me to throw the match just for that blonde. Izuku let her true feelings be shown on her face as a lot more serious and angry. No, what I plan to do to him will be the one thing that every guy wishes that they never would have to go through. Jiro had her curiosity peak and wanted to help Izuku since she technically owed her, but she wanted to know more. Okay, you need to explain yourself because your determination has changed so much and you haven't even described what you're trying to ask of me yet. Izuku took a few deep breaths trying to calm herself down as she was getting ready to explain herself. What I am asking you to do is to stall during your match so I can deal with Bakugo personally. Jiro even had more questions after hearing that. Why? I don't even know if you could take him in a fight. You seem to have very good skills, but how does that compare to him? Plus, I would want to know the reason why you're after him so badly. Izuku bit her bottom lip, but she didn't really want to say it, but she knew that if she didn't tell Jiro, she might not cooperate. Because he drove me to suicide once. Jiro's eyes went wide as they dilated a little bit from the shock. He did what to you? Izuku Izuku was holding on to her left arm, trying to keep her composure. He once drove me to suicide. Looking back at it now, it was kinda stupid trying to do something like that to myself because of him. I don't want to explain the entire story to you right now because we don't have time and it's a little bit personal. I just want to know if you will support me and allow me to have enough time to do what I need to do today. Hiro snapped back into focus, realizing what she needed to do as she grabbed onto Izuku's shoulders tight. I want the full explanation later, but do know that I will do everything I can to drag out the clock as much as possible and try to keep his partner away. Izuku held on to her new friend's hands. You have no idea how grateful I am to hear you say that. Now I am more confident in getting my revenge on Bakugo. After that, I can finally move on with my life. Yuro felt bad for Bakugo because when Izuku was done with him, he'll wish that he never crossed her. Alrighty then, what's the plan? We cut away to the villain group who seems to not even be communicating with one another. Bakugo sparked small explosions as he had a big grin on his face. Alright, listen, dunce face, I don't care about you. Just stay out of my way and leave the girls to me. You would just get in my way if you came down with me. Anki had a sweat drop as he was scratching the back of his head, not really knowing what to do. I guess I'll just stay here with the bomb, or are you sure that it's a good idea to divide and conquer? What happens if they jump you? Bakugo laughed like a madman. I'm truly not worried about two girls trying to attack me. They're so far beneath me. The only reason I will go easy on the green-haired one is because she's a beauty and will be mine by the end of the day. Denki was confused. Just to let you know, that girl's name is... Bakugo let off a huge explosion, canceling out anything that Denki just said. I don't remember what that girl's name was, but I don't want to hear from you. I'll ask her during the fight, so keep your mouth shut. Denki shrugged his shoulders as he pulled out his phone. Do whatever you want, man. I don't care anymore. All Might got on the intercom announcing for the hero team to finally come into the building. Both girls nodded their heads as they kicked open the front door, not seeming to take long to get into the building. As they started to head up to the second floor, they could hear explosions coming from upper floors heading towards them. He's coming. Time to make yourself scarce, Jiro. Jiro took a deep breath, still feeling very hesitant about what's going to happen today. I hope your story really is going to justify your actions. Izuku got into a fighting stance as she got her capture scarf ready. I guess that'll be up to your opinion later. Jiro ran straight ahead when she came face to face with Baku, who was about to shoot a small explosion at her. But at the last second, he had his arm wrapped around with a cloth-like fabric, yanking him away and slamming him onto the ground. Only a few feet away from the person holding the scarf, who mesmerized Baku for a second, seeing his green hair beauty. Sorry, Blondie, but your battle's with me, not with her. Bakugo had a little bit of a blush on his cheek as he was smiling, getting back onto his feet and getting the scarf off of his arm. That's fine with me. I'll let your friend run past. I'd rather deal with you anyway. Jiro rolled her eyes as she started to run up the staircase. I seriously believe that guy is whipped. Izuku covered her mouth with one of her hands as she was chuckling behind it, hiding a wild smirk instead of a smile. Well, Explosion Boy, looks like it's just me and you. Bakugo was very excited as small explosions were going off in his hand instead of the normal big ones. Don't worry, I won't hurt you too much. If you surrender now, I'll take you on a date afterwards. Izuku started laughing as she was staring towards the ceiling as it echoed through the hall like madness as she was stepping off for a second, then disappeared, reappearing right behind Bakugo. You have no idea who I really am, do you, moron? She then used finger pistol and jabbed it right into his kneecap and then kicked him right into the wall. You really, and I mean really, don't know who I am. Bakugo was on his knees, clutching onto his left knee like a bullet just went through it. Should I know you? Like, I get that you're beautiful, but I think I would recognize if I met someone like you before. He then forced himself onto his feet as one of his legs was shaky. But since you decided to use a lot more force on that attack, I'm going to have to be a little bit more rough with you, but like I said, I'll make it up to you with our date. Izuku's rage just continued to boil over as she wanted to punch him again and then pierce his head with the finger pistol, but she decided to hold herself back. I really am offended that you don't remember me, Ka-chan. Bakugo instantly went from a playful demeanor her to his eyes widening. "What did you just call me?" Izuku had a very serious look on her face that was full of confidence. "You heard me, you explosive bastard. I called you Kachan, and only one person in your life ever called you that. Now say my name." Bakugo had a major scowl on his face as his rage was boiling through his entire essence. "You goddamn Deku, I thought that you were a freak before, but now you put on this whole facade to mess with me. I'm going to mess you up so much worse than I did back then." Izuku got back into her stance, ready for the real battle to begin. "It's not like last time. I'm a lot stronger than I was back then, and I plan to make you pay." Bakugo started to let off real explosions as he popped them off in his hand, using one to launch him towards Izuku. "Die, you freak!" Izuku sidesteps Bakugo and palm strikes him right in the lower rib, slamming him into the nearby wall. "You really should work on your footwork," he giggled as she was hopping on her feet ready to keep on moving. "Did you know after the day that you left me beat up on top of the roof after you rejected my former love for you, I tried to commit suicide?" We cut back to the monitoring room where everybody was listening in on the story. Some were impressed by Izuku's fighting potential, while those who knew what this battle represented just leaned up against the wall ready to intervene in case All Might tries to stop it. But when the word suicide came over the monitor speaker, everybody went on edge. Mina stepped forward, getting closer to the monitor screen, so she's finally bringing everything to the forefront. Enso got up and stood right next to All Might. "Looks like it." All Might looked to both sides of him, seeing that the both of them knew more about this. "Would either of you like to explain to me what's going on here, because I'm starting to feel like I need to stop this fight before it truly gets out of hand." Jinso looked towards All Might with an eyebrow raised. "And how exactly do you plan on stopping the fight, Sensei?" All Might, without even thinking about it, was ready to respond to that. "Well, I'll just say," Jinso smiled behind his face mask, "just stand there and be quiet." Ina looked back to see if anybody was paying attention to All Might, but luckily for her, they were all entranced for what was on screen, trying to pay attention to what Bakugo was going to say as a response. "Alright, Izu, the stage is all yours. Let him have it." We cut back to inside of the building with Bakugo and Izuku fighting, where Bakugo was getting off of the ground for the third time in this fight. "Do I look like I give a shit? If you actually would have died, then you would have done the world a favor, so I'm going to make up for your mistake." As he held up one of the gauntlets, getting ready to pull the pin. "Burn to ashes, you sexual freak." Izuku moved at her fastest speed, kicking the gauntlet to the side as the explosion went off, destroying half of the building's lower floor. "Do you really think I'm that stupid? I realized that those gauntlets were storing up your sweat, but you just confirmed that for me." Bakugo was annoyed as he brought up the other gauntlet, seeing that this was going to be a point-blank shot and he wasn't going to hesitate at all to do it. "Well, you just made sure I won't miss this time." Izuku focused, using the finger pistol with her entire fist as she shattered the gauntlet into a bunch of pieces. "And like I told you, you don't understand what I'm capable of anymore." Bakugo didn't know what to do. One of his gauntlets was empty and the other one was broken as he was pressed up against a wall. "Do you really expect me to apologize to you just because you have me cornered?" Izuku glared with rage, fully showing that her face was no longer sweet and innocent, she was just pure rage. "You don't even feel bad for what you have done or what I've just told you." She quickly punched him across the face right in the center point of his jaw, which gave him a small concussion. "I can't believe I used to look up to you. I can't believe I used to love you. I used to give you everything, but now I see the truth." He then kicked him off of the wall and onto his back in the middle of the hallway. "I think it's finally time you got what you deserve, and I feel like anybody who's been bullied and put down by you would probably throw me a parade for what I'm about to do." Bakugo was still disoriented, only understanding every few words as he tried to muster up something. "Stop What are you? He felt like he was going to hurl for a second as he choked it back. Doing. Izuku kicked both of Bakugo's legs, spreading them open, leaving his jewels vulnerable, ending your god-forsaken bloodline and making sure that you have no future legacy for yourself. Everyone who was watching this or even listening to this over the earpiece was in horror for what was about to happen. Every male shivered while going pale, while all the women were confused as they saw Izuku's leg go up as she was doing a perfect split while standing upwards, and brought her foot down as a blue-like aura was going down with it, as the sound could be heard over the earpiece and then over the speakers of the monitoring room. A squelching noise flowed over as Bakugo screams then followed after it. Izuku felt so much satisfaction as she could feel the paste underneath her foot as she just dug it in deeper. You should know that I actually have proper medical knowledge and I know everything about the human body from male to female. What I just did with one of my Tempest Kick is destroy your family jewels along with what makes you proud to be a man. So enjoy living the rest of your life as a freak yourself. You're neither male nor female, you're just that now. Bakugo was in so much pain he didn't know what to do. He felt like his entire body was on fire, like he was being stabbed in the most vulnerable area over and over again. Curse you, Deku. Izuku removed her foot as she held out her hand like a pistol as she flicked it 5 times, sending pressurized bullets right into the injured area, truly making sure that it could never be fixable ever again. Curse me all you want, but you had this coming. You bullied, you cheated, and you put others down, so you finally are getting what you deserve. Jiro heard everything over her earpiece as she was shivering, not wanting to see what Izuku did to Bakugo as she radioed into her partner. Is it finally done? We only have like 5 minutes left before we fail. Izuku looked down at the defeated Bakugo as he lost consciousness and was bleeding from his crotch area as she tapped on the earpiece. Yes, and if you just give me a second, by the time you get to the bomb area, his partner will not even want to fight you, so just make your way there. Jiro started walking a lot faster as she pinpointed where the bomb was. Alright, I'm more surprised that All Might hasn't stopped the fight after what you just did. Izuku was finally able to calm down as she came back to her cheerful demeanor. Don't worry, I have friends taking care of it, as she switched the comm channel to the enemy team. Hey Danky, I'm pretty sure you were listening over the earpiece along with those in the monitoring room, so I'm sorry for giving you such a gruesome image to think about later. So why don't you do us girls a favor and just stand up against the wall, and when my partner comes into the room you just let her touch the bomb. How does that sound? Danky was shivering on how sweet all of that sounded as he remembered hearing the explosions and then the echoing of white noise, followed by his partner screaming like he was going through hell. So you promise that neither one of you is going to attack me if I just stand up against the wall like you said, right? Izuku already knew that her opponent was completely intimidated. I promise, and if you do exactly as I say, I'll make sure to give you a nice big hug when I see you on the bottom floor. How does that sound? Danky didn't even hesitate as he ran over to the wall and stared at it. Deal, I'm already at the wall staring at it. I'll be waiting for my hug whenever this is over. Just at that moment, Jiro opened the door, seeing that her opponent was facing towards the wall, acting like she wasn't even there. Shrugging her shoulders, she just walked over to the bomb, and the timer finally stopped when she touched it, signifying that the hero team was victorious. Danky turned to look towards Jiro. You promised to tell her that I did exactly as she said. I really want that hug, and maybe if you were to give out some yourself, I wouldn't mind getting one. Jiro shrugged her shoulders as she actually just gave him a hug, burying his face in her cleavage. Seeing that he was enjoying it, it kind of freaked her out, but for the first time in her life she truly felt like a woman, being able to do something like this as she pushed him off of her the next moment later. There, now run off. Just try not to go looking for your partner. If anything, take the long way down to the bottom floor. Danky ran off as he had the biggest smile on his face, knowing that all the other guys were going to be jealous when he tells them about this. Didn't exactly hear what you said. I gotta go find Izuku now. Jiro didn't really feel bad for him as she started to make her way towards the exit. It's his loss. He's probably going to lose his good mood the moment he sees what she did to him. Both of them finally make it to the bottom floor as they were getting close to where the fight just happened, seeing Izuku standing there with a smile on her face. As the medical bots haul Bakugo away, Denki ran over without hesitation as his eyes caught a glimpse of what happened as he saw the blood stain right on the crotch area of the ashy blonde, making him stop in his tracks just like a statue. Izuku noticed that as she just smiled at him. "What's the matter? I thought you were rushing over to come get your hug." She held out her arms, being very sweet, even though she knew that the injured victim that was right in view behind her. "So come and get it already." Denki was more focused on the blood that he was seeing and where it was coming from as he gripped onto his own manhood, imagining what happened, and it made him go pale. "You know what? I'm good. Why don't you just say you owe me a favor? How does that sound?" Izuku acted like she was upset as she puffed at her cheeks playfully. "Well, if that's what you want, but I've been told that I give good hugs." Denki just ran past her, for once not thinking about getting in contact with a woman, but for once protecting his manhood, not knowing when she was going to strike next against somebody. "I'm good. Like I said, I'll just ask for a favor in the future." Jiro walked over as both girls looked at each other seriously, acting that way for only a moment as they just started giggling at one another. "I know that you were going to do a number on him, but seriously, ending someone's bloodline like that was really necessary?" Izuku felt a little sheepish as she was walking with Jiro back to the monitoring room. "I just got into the moment, and besides, he's an only child, and I don't think his parents are going to have any more kids. So yeah, with his jewels gone, his bloodline ends with him." Jiro really hoped whatever she was going to be told later is going to be worth the damage that they just did, because they might be risking getting expelled from school. "I swear, if we get expelled, I'm holding you responsible for everything. You'll have to make it up to me for the rest of your life." Izuku just playfully held up her hands like she was at gunpoint. "I swear, we're not going to get expelled. You're just going to have to trust me. You might be spending a while in detention, but I'll do my best to get you out of it." Jiro playfully jabbed Izuku on the side. "Don't you dare. I was just as much a part of this as you are. I could have tried to prevent this by telling people or hurried up towards the bomb." She then took a deep breath for a second, trying to calm her nerves. "Plus, I owed you for what you've done for me, so we're even, so you don't get to hold this over my head in the future for some kind of favor. This was the favor." Izuku just scratched the back of her head. Yeah, we're even. Now let's go inside so All Might can yell at us." As the both of them finally made it back to the monitoring room, they opened the door and all the guys saw Izuku and quickly made a path, at least keeping 10 feet of distance from her, afraid of being her next victim. Well, except for Shinsa, who was actually being lectured by All Might, who was actually leaning against the monitor controls like he was weak in the knees. When he finally noticed both of the girls coming up, he actually flinched for a second. Izuku tilted her head in confusion by the reaction. "Are you okay, Sensei? You look like you just saw something gruesome." All Might gathered all of his composure as he was actually looking very angry. "Young lady, you should know what you have done here today was very villainous and could get you on the road to expulsion from here, along with your two friends who helped instigate this entire incident by using their quirks to restrain me." Shinso was about to use his quirk again, but decided to just face the music. "At least do us the courtesy of doing this in a private setting with the principal and our parents. Is it really necessary to yell at us in front of everybody, trying to humiliate us? Is that your true intention right now, Sensei?" All Might thought about it for a second and realized how he wouldn't like to be in a situation like this himself either, but he also wanted to play it cool because he needed Izuku's help. "Alright, fine. I'll be escorting all of you to the principal's office and then contacting your parents to be here right away." But that's where I'm gonna leave it off this time, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Sorry about the long wait, but I was going through some stuff, but I hope you understand. With all that said, I'm out. Peace.